All right, warm up. Find the angle between vectors u and vector v. So the formula is theta equals what? Theta equals what? The angle, theta equals what? Cosine. Yeah, cosine. Cosine inverse of what? The dot product. So over divided by, is it? Divided by the magnitude of each? Multiplied? So yeah, it's related to the law of cosines, I said. So theta equals cosine inverse dot product. So that goes on top. What is the dot product? What is the answer? Is it negative 5? It's negative 5? Yeah? Negative 5? The magnitude of each, the square root of 2 squared plus 1 squared, 2 squared is 4 plus 1 is square root of 5. I'm going quick with this. Yes? Would it? Square root of 5. And then magnitude of V, square root of 10. Is it square root of 10? Square root of 10. Then you get a calculator. I would, for you guys taking the test coming up on Friday, get a number here and then do this everything. So I would do negative 5 divided by square root of 5. That's just kind of the way I would do it. You do it your own way. If you get it, you don't mess it up. Then divide that by square root of 10. I am getting negative 0.707 and negative 0.707. And then cosine inverse of that. That's going to give me approximately the angle. Cosine inverse. And make sure it's in degrees. Negative 0.707. It should be what? 135, no? Because it says 134.999. It's going to be 135. It's got to be 135. Yeah, probably want to use negative 0.707 instead. To a thousandths place gives you more of an exact answer. Even with a thousandths place, it was still kind of off, 134.99. Okay, moving on. Vector word problems. This is it, and we're done for this unit. Vectors. So here's applications of vectors, vector word problems. Here's a situation. A hiker bikes away from the base camp heading due north 6 kilometers. So I got these little emojis. Base camp is right here. And then he's gonna head north 6. He's gonna bike 6 kilometers north. Due north. Let's just say that he goes in straight lines for some reason. So a hiker bikes away from base camp heading due north 6 kilometers. Then he runs 8 kilometers east. East is to the right. East is to the right. So my emoji is going left, draw is going to the right, he's going right instead. He runs to the right 8 kilometers east. Then he skates 12 kilometers south. Exhausted, he radios to base camp to come get him. Which way and how far do his rescuers have to go to go get him? Well, the say the rescuers don't want to follow his trail, and they're not gonna get a dog to go sniff where he walked or anything like that. They're just gonna go straight to where he went. If he does know mathematics and he tells them, well, I went north 6 kilometers, then I went east 8 kilometers, and then I went south 12 kilometers. So what we want is the net. How can we do this? Well, basically, since I drew it, you can see that this is it right here. This is it right there, no? That's the vector. One way to do this is to add up all the horizontal vectors. So the net horizontal vectors, no? And then we can do a net vertical. Direction matters. In terms of the horizontal, all he did was go to the right 8 kilometers. He didn't do anything else other than go to the right from base camp. So on the net horizontal, it will be 8 kilometers to the right, going from left to right. In the net vertical, is that he went 6 kilometers up or north, 6 kilometers north, but then he went 12 kilometers south. And this is what we had done before about the summation of vectors. So in net vertical, what's the net vertical out of all that? Anybody, what's the net vertical? 6. Does that make sense that this would, and it's 6 what, which direction? North or south? South. There's more going south, no? Yes or no? Make sense? Yes? So the net is that it's 6 kilometers south. So 6 kilometers south, going in the south direction. So now once we get the nets, this is a net and this is the net. I mean, I'm just kind of separating what's going on, but in reality, we can just look at the drawing and figure out what's going on here. It is that it did go 8 kilometers. If we're looking at this right here, let's bring it over. This is 8, and it went that way. And then it went 6 kilometers, so this better be 6 right here. But it doesn't. It's not. It should be 6 kilometers. It's half. It should be half. So we're looking at this triangle here, no? This right here. So how can we figure out what this right here is? Say it loud. Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. The question mark is the hypotenuse. So hypotenuse squared is equal to, that's by itself, 8 squared plus 6 squared. And that's going to be 64 plus 36 is equal to this squared. What's 64 plus 36? 100. And so, what's the question mark? 10? 10? All right, so there it is, no? So 10 is the, so when he says, they tell him, he radios back and says, hey, I went 6 kilometers north, 8 kilometers east, and then I went down south 12 kilometers, and they say, I don't know, can you just tell me where exactly, do the math and tell me. Okay, look, come, it's 10, a distance of 10, a distance of 10 at this angle. What is angle theta? How can I figure out what this angle theta is? If we do know 6 and 10 now, I can use what? It doesn't even matter, no? We can use what? 6 over 8. What's 6 over 8? Which ratio is 6 over 8? Tangent. So let's do tangent. So what's the angle here? Theta is going to be tangent inverse of 6 over 8. That's the angle that we need. So get your calculators. What tangent inverse of 6 over 8 in degrees? Tangent inverse in degrees. 6 divided by 8. It says about what? Let's round to a whole number. What would it be? 37. So this is what you're gonna say. Well, I'm 10 kilometers away at an angle of 37 degrees south what? Southeast. So I'm 37 degrees southeast at a distance of 10. So theta is 37 degrees southeast, directly at 10 kilometers away from base camp. That is pretty much the lesson. We'll do one more. Let's do one more, and that would be it. All right, let's go. Number 2. So it says here, a pack of 3 Arctic wolves are fighting over the carcass of a dead polar bear. A top view of the magnitude and direction of the 3 forces is shown in the diagram. Determine the resultant or the net force acting upon the carcass and the direction of movement. So you got a wolf pulling 300 newtons to the west. You got another wolf pulling with a force of 250 newtons south, and then you got some the strongest one wolf pulling at 420 newtons at an angle of 30 degrees northeast. So in this particular one, let's go ahead and break down the horizontal net force and then do a vertical net force, and then we draw the triangle that maybe we can get from it. So the horizontal net force, we got the one going 300 newtons to the left, but we got to get the x component for that one right there. We got to break it down into its x and y components for this one right here. How can we figure out what that x is? What do we do? What ratio is it? This is what? What is this? What is it? This is 420, yes or no? So then how can we figure out x? Which ratio are we going to use? Cosine. So we're going to do what? Cosine of 30 degrees. So we have see, I already put it down, but we do what? Cosine of 30 degrees, I'll do it on the side. Cosine of 30 degrees is equal to, cosine of 30 is equal to what? What's cosine of 30? X over 420, no? And so how do we get the x by itself? Multiply both sides by 420. 420. And now we got x equals 420 cosine 30. So go ahead and get your calculators and get what is 420 times cosine 30. Cosine root 3 over 2, so it's going to be some so let's get approximately, what is it? What is 420 times cosine 30 degrees? Whatever that is, I guess I still haven't got. So anyways, it's going to go in that direction, whatever that is. Oh, approximately. I'm around to a whole number, 364. So now looking at this, again, it's going to the left 300, but then it's pulling 364, that one strong wolf. So what is the net for that? Because that's it, no? What's the net? What's the net horizontal? Yes, you said it. Somebody said, what is it, 64? To the left or to the right? Which one's stronger, left or right? Right. So it's going to be 64 to the right. That's the net. All right. Let's do the vertical now. So The one pulling south is 250 newtons. And now we got to get the vertical one. So what is this going to be? That's going to be our y. So we're going to use what with reference here? This is 420, just to put it here for you. What are we going to use? To find y. How do I find y here? Which ratio do I use? We know the angle. We don't know that. We know the hypotenuse. What is that over there? What's opposite over that? Let's not use. We could use this, but why? No. What's that over the hypotenuse? Sine, isn't it? Yes. So it's going to be what? Sine of 30 is what? Sine of 30 degrees is what? Sine of 30 degrees is what? Y over 420. And then get the y by itself by multiplying by 420. So 420, not degrees, but 420. So 420 newtons times sine of 30 degrees. And what is that? 210. So now what is the net of this? What's the net vertical force? Is it 40? Yes or no? Is it 40 or no? 40 which up or down? Huh? Down. Isn't it like going down more force than going up? Just so it's gonna be 40. So now you draw your triangle. So it's going horizontal is going to the right by 64. This is 64, and then you can put it here and go down by 40. And what now? So we go to the right 64, and we're gonna go. So and then do a triangle. Okay, so going to the right is stronger and going down is stronger, and so this is the net vector here. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. What are you guys getting? The square root of 64 squared plus 40 squared. What is it? What'd you get, Luz?
First part, right?
Yeah, square root of 64 squared plus 40 squared.
Around 75.
Say 75, no? Let's see. Is it 75? 75.5 newtons? I don't know. Since I have no, I'm not telling you exactly to round to whatever. On the test, better have better instructions on what we want here. So 75.5 newtons in which direction? In the, again, southeast direction. And how do we find what this theta is? Theta is equal to what? How do we find theta based off of that? Tangent, isn't it? Tangent? Because we know the opposite of this. Tangent inverse of 64 over 40. It's going to probably be positive what you're going to get, but it's you know, see, what do we got degrees? Well, tangent inverse 64 divided by 40. 58 degrees. You could say the absolute of it, because you're gonna say go 58 degrees in the southeast direction. So it has to always be an absolute for it, because you're telling which direction to go in terms of northwest and all that. So what? Why is it 32? What did I do? What did you guys get?
Oh, I think we did 47, 47.
Tangent inverse 40 over 64 in degrees. 32. Oh no, what did I do before? I don't know what I did before. It is 32. It's good. You guys get 32? Yeah? We're done. And that is it